Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
It's Waffle Box time.
I don't even know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It
Gets the people going.
You know what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this?
My crotch is itchy.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
What would you do if you had $1 million?
2 chicks at the same time, man.
Just thank the Lord she didn't live to see her son as a mermaid.
You killed a hooker!
Call girl!
No,
she was
Cyril, when they're dead, they're just hookers.
This time we are sure she's a woman, right?
Why do you want to listen to the TV with the stereo on?
Because I like to party.
Let's do this!
Welcome to Waffle Box, the podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing all at the same time. Coming up on episode 22, we're talking about Dune or June, depending on how you want to say it. We're talking about the Dave Chappelle stand-up special, The Closer, and the controversy that's coming on after that. And obviously, some more waffle on top of that. My name is Mike Fish, and as always, I'm joined by our special host on location, Mr. Kush Hayes. Kush, hey, so many questions. How you doing, buddy?
What's good, Mike? How you doing, baby?
I'm well. I'm tired, sleepy. Long day, but
I get that.
Where are you?
Today I'm reporting on location from the City of Angels. I am in Southern California. I'm going to help out a friend of the family, co-host of the Kick-Ass Movie Podcast, director, master of all martial arts. Len Kabaczynski is working on his next motion picture out here with Leo Fong, Diamante, Petey Avalon, both from AEW, and I'm going to be a part of it, helping behind the scenes wherever they need me to be, and I am looking forward to it because I love production. Hashtag.
Is he paying you?
I do not wish to disclose that. This is a micro budget, so no.
Is he at least paying for the hotel?
No. This is all volunteer, baby. You're in for this for the love of the game.
No, I don't love the game.
If I didn't want to be here, I wouldn't be here.
But at least you got a nice chair out of it.
Got a nice chair, got a nice background, some stable Wi-Fi, it seems. So, yeah, man.
And is that a print behind you, or is that an actual backdrop? I can't tell.
That is a photograph of some bombshell with a pearl necklace, a little fur wrap, and a cute little tushy too.
Pearl necklace, giggity,
giggity.
For
whatever reason, though, it's hanging off of her back as opposed to her front. Like you could just snatch that bitch and make her come over here.
Not that we condone that kind of behavior on the waffle.
No, very Weinstein-ish. But again, I am in Los Angeles.
It's already creeping into you. You're already getting
it's in my pores.
I can feel the creepiness coming.
I'm going to harass an intern. I don't even know where I would find one of those. I'll get it done. Don't worry.
So what have you been up to in the last 7 days, other than traveling to Los Angeles?
Just getting ready for this trip, to be honest, man. There's a lot that goes into just prepping to leave for, 5 days. It's just you got to get all the little things in order. You got to make sure that the house is in order for the 5 days that you're gone. You got to make sure all parties that are staying behind are comfortable. And then on top of that, you still have to take care of all your regular duties, such as booking guests for microdoses and then editing them. And, we thankfully got everything in order, and we are down here in Los Angeles. Tried to get some GoPro footage, do a time lapse of my trip here, and I think it went well all the way up until like a half mile before I got here. I don't know what happened. And I haven't been able to review the footage yet. But
so you missed the money shot after all that.
Yeah. We'll try again on the way home. Hopefully, we'll get a great shot of driving to and over the Bay Bridge, and fingers crossed on
that. Before we dive in, don't forget, obviously, he did mention Microdose there. Of course, there are many other podcasts other than Waffle Box. So, of course, you should listen to Waffle Box first, but there are many podcasts that you listen to on the Bosnet family. Just go to bosnet.family, and there's so many things for you to enjoy. Such as coming out this week. What's the good people of the Syrup Squad to look forward to this week on the Bosnet family?
Episode 90 drops this Friday, and I'm talking to an old friend of mine, like one of the oldest souls I know in life, not just in anything else, like in life. I grew up with this girl across the yard when we were just 5. I'm talking about 1EQ, the specialist. She's a DJ, if you haven't heard of her, Mike. But she comes on the show. We talk a little bit about life, history, our day jobs, and then she even allowed me to play one of her new songs.
Wow.
So I'm very excited about that. She's mainly EDM, club, trance, dance, stuff like that. But she's got a really great R&B song called The Tie. That's all one word. And that's going to close out this Friday's show.
Exclusive.
I mean, it's on Reverb Nation and all that other stuff.
Oh.
But this is the first time we've actually had a musical guest on the Bosnet. And yeah, that's exciting.
We don't have guests here. We're very...
Not yet. We're working on that.
We like to keep it to ourselves. No outsiders.
Well, I did 100 microdoses of Kush and Kai, and there's maybe 4 guests in that entire series. And then maybe we did 25 episodes, 30 episodes before, like Robin said, I was just like, maybe we should bring on some guests. So.
And then Alex came on 3 times.
You have been on, yeah. You're due for another guest appearance too, by the way.
2 of my own, 1 with Alex.
Yeah, you came on once by yourself. You came on once with Alex from Claret and Big Blue, and then you came on once to announce that we're doing Waffle Box.
And then here we are, 22 episodes later, still
having a great time too, yeah.
The train that, what is it? The train that could? The train that could?
Little train that could. I think I can. Choo choo.
Yeah, buddy.
But this is Waffle Box. It's the best part of Wednesdays, folks. Thank you.
It is over 350 downloads and counting. Thank you for your support. Make sure, again, if you are watching the video version, make sure you hit the subscribe button and smash that subscribe button, like they all say.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell. Make sure you get all the notifications. Blah 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 blah. Anyway, let's actually talk about some content this week.
Yeah, man.
Ooh, but I think it's going to be kind of a testy episode because Dave Chappelle had a new special come out. You might have heard about it. It's called The Closer on Netflix, and I normally am pretty finger on the pulse when it comes to comedy specials. I'm a big comedy fan, but I didn't even know he had a new special out until I saw that there was a bunch of people at Netflix not happy that the fact that they put it out. There was a lot of people trying to walk out. And so I'll be honest, when I read into the controversy, like not to get too deep into it, but I was kind of, because I'm a big Dave Chappelle fan. I really like Dave Chappelle.
Naturally. Same.
But I'm also one of these people that if something upsets me or I feel awkward about something, then suddenly the whole thing's ruined. Like, I can't watch anything again about this person. Like, sort of, I mean, like Chris Benoit, the wrestler, one of my favorite professional wrestlers of all time. Then he killed his wife and his son. Now I don't feel comfortable watching any of his matches anymore.
Okay. Now, that's honest. That's fair.
I'm not comparing anything Dave Chappelle said or done to Chris Benoit murdering people. But anyway, the point is, I was kind of, okay, because I have friends, family in the LGBTQ community. Sure. And so I was like, if what is being said about his special is true, it's going to be really awkward. And so I kind of almost like avoided watching it at first. Because I was like, almost like, what do they say? It's like, if I don't see it, it doesn't happen kind of thing.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind. And then eventually I'm just going to watch it. Screw it. And I'm assuming, have you seen? Did you watch it? Okay.
I saw it the day after it came out, but it was just like you said, it was one of those things where and I've said this about Netflix a few times now. Netflix is terrible about announcing upcoming releases, and sometimes they're really bad about like, oh, this is already released. So yeah, again, it was one of those things like, oh, Chappelle's got another special coming out.
Oh, the amount of times I've seen a new special come out, but then I spend 5 minutes going, have I seen this one? Is this an old one or is it a new one? Have I seen it before I end up watching
and
it?
For a second, I thought the closer was like, is it the one I saw 2 years ago when I was in Holland? No, this is a new one. Oh, okay, that's right there, 2021. Am I thinking?
But yes, so when I watched it, I mean, we're going to get into it. We're going to dive into it. We're going to, as Adele says, we're going to be rolling in the deep.
Oh.
Nice little...
I'm behind on my Adele, but
well, that's an old song. It's an old song, but she's got new
I'm
stuff.
very behind.
So yeah, I know it's still a reference there because it's culturally appropriate right now. But yeah. But I okay. Watching it, I could definitely tell if taken out of context, there could have been a bunch of snippets of what Dave Chappelle said that could upset a bunch of people.
Sure.
But I think generally that's what's happened here, because I think if you watch the whole thing and listen to everything he says, now I'm not saying I agree with everything he said, but I don't think he said anything so outlandish that it deserves pickets, rallies, and things.
I think this is a much to do about nothing.
No, I don't want to go that far because,
okay,
again, speaking as no, that's fine. But speaking as a straight white male, I appreciate I can't speak for many. You know what I mean? I don't want to say so. I don't want to say you shouldn't be offended by this or anything like that. But I just don't understand the level of backlash that this has received. If you had realistically watched everything what he said, because yes, he did go on about the trans community a lot in this special, but from what I heard, one of his main points was, and seemed to be at least, was that it wasn't necessarily he had an issue with the trans community. He was just had an issue with the whole wider scope of things, of how it's almost more career ruining or life ruining if you were to upset or make a comment about a trans person than it would be if you were to murder a black person. That's kind of one of the points he made.
Yes.
Which
that is one of the points he made. I think a lot of this special was him reacting to the criticism he got from this special 2 years ago.
Right.
And in that, he had things to say about the transgender community and that upset everybody. It was the first time we're like, really? They're trying to cancel Dave Chappelle? Like, right? Vice has got a nasty words to say about this guy that they were just putting on a pedestal not even 6 months prior to that. It's a very weird situation. And it's, as far as comedy specials go, it's definitely not his best one. In fact, I think the best one.
There's not many laugh out loud moments.
No, it's mainly him just talking to the audience.
It's a TED talk.
Sure. Yeah. That's fair. He does his funny voices and he laughs at himself and smacks himself on the forehead with the mic. Otherwise, there's not too many funny bits in it. But again, he's telling his story. This is things that have happened to him. This was his experience, and a lot of people are overlooking that as well. I don't think he has a problem so much with the community itself, but they are upset nonetheless. So it's one of those things where, like, well, and that's part of the point of his special, as we were getting at, like, what's safe to talk about then? Like, he mentioned the hip hop artist, the baby shot a guy in North Carolina in a Walmart, and whether or not it was self-defense, that's up for speculation, or it's in a police report. You do that homework, kids. But no one gave a shit about that. It was only when he I mean, if you heard the soundbite of what he said at his concert that got the baby halfway canceled, you're like, God damn, the baby. Like,
that was what with the whole cancel culture. But I don't think his career should be ruined from that. But as soon as I heard that, I was like, Jesus Christ, the baby.
Okay.
I was like, what? Did you think about what you was about to say before you said? What did you think was going to happen?
Well, it's not just what he said, but it's then when people had something to say about that, then he doubled down on it.
Yeah.
And then after that, they're like, okay, well, we're going to take these tour appearances away from you. We're going to take away this thing from Saturday Night Live. That was the thing. We're going to show you what happens to baby when you say nasty things. But feel free to murder anybody in the Walmart. Allegedly.
Yeah, but I think the main issue was right at the end, I think, was when he did Dave Chappelle did kind of almost make a statement towards the trans community. Because obviously the story, if you haven't seen this special, I definitely recommend watching it at least, then you have a better idea of what's going on. But so he had a friend in Los Angeles? Was it Los Angeles? San Francisco, who was a trans woman, big fan of his, trying to become a comedian, and they became friends. And then he tried to help her out by whenever he was swinging by in a comedy club, he would have her open for him.
Well, he had her open once for the story.
For the story,
very, very bad.
She was very bad, but from that story of her being very bad, but then she'd taken it very well, and then her actually being very funny backstage, blah, 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 they became good friends. And then after the last special, when he had a lot of backlash from the trans community, she stood up for him, and she just got destroyed on social media, apparently. And I'm not
because she wasn't with us, she is immediately against us,
right?
In the trans community's mind,
and it's not necessarily. So we'll never know if it was definitely 100% connected, but very much shortly after that, she unfortunately committed suicide. And so basically, Dave's point was that how are you going to hate on someone who's apparently punching down on you when you're punching down on each other? So again, it's one of those awkward things where you have to, again, tread lightly, but I don't necessarily, I can't 100% say I agree with everything he said, but I can't.
And you're not supposed to.
But also on the same flip side, I can't necessarily disagree with anything he said.
Okay.
Like, if that makes sense. It's like,
it does, to me at least.
So like, you don't have to agree, but again, I just don't think he necessarily said anything super controversial in this special.
No.
I think a lot of the people, and again, it's my thoughts and my thinking, because I haven't spoken to Dave personally, I haven't spoken to anyone in the trans community who's upset about this. But I just think a lot of this is a larger problem, and he's getting very serious, but a larger problem that people will hear secondhand information or see out of context snippets of information and base their entire opinion and reaction off of that, rather than, apparently Dave said some shit about the trans community. Let me actually see what he said and watch it before I base my reaction. People are just kind of maybe reading one joke written out or watching a 2-minute clip and flipping out. That's what I kind of think's happened. What do you think?
It's a very complicated time we live in. I am of that age where I do not understand trans anything. I'm very confused by a lot of things, and those of you out there are going, well, you could just Google it. I don't know what questions to ask Google, but I would love to have a conversation with someone one time and get to the bottom of it. But even then, I probably wouldn't understand it. I've worked with someone who transitioned from male to female when I worked in this city.
On separate coasts.
And it was a very complicated situation that made things uncomfortable for a lot of parties, including the transgender person. I think they were uncomfortable the most. And then time goes on, people get used to it, people die, people move on to other departments, and then other people get those jobs, and they only know this person as this person. They didn't see him before him. They only know the after. But even after that, and I'm probably not using a very good example, and I swear to God, I hope I misheard this rumor, but that person I worked with, after 15 years of everything, finally came to the conclusion, oh, I've made a terrible mistake, and I should not have done it. Now, again, I swear to God, I hope I misheard that, and that they're living their best life and having a great time. However, again, it's a lot of, if you're not with us, you're against us. And if you're not at 0, you're at 11. And there's no in between, and you have to agree with everything we say 100%. And if you don't, we're going to cancel you. And I think the main thing that people are upset about with Dave Chappelle is that he's not backing down and he's not apologizing.
Right.
That's usually someone says something stupid, like our good friend Matt Damon, and then he tries to backpedal, and then they just bury more bullshit on top of them. And Dave Chappelle's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I said what I said. This is how I feel. I also am not trying to be negative towards anybody, but this is also my experience. And people don't want to hear any of that bullshit. So I don't know if any of that made sense to you, Mike. And I probably rambled a little bit there, but it's very confusing times, and just.
Well, I think, just not even.
I'll be dead in 20 years, so it's probably not going to phase me anyways.
But I not even about this subject, but I think you're right in that people are, it's like you're one end of the spectrum or the other, or you're like, for example.
There's no shades of gray anymore.
Just as a made up example, it's kind of like if someone was to say, oh, I think New York is the best city in the world. And then someone else will go, oh, I think London is the best city in the world. What most people, what basically what you're saying is that actually, no, I think London's better than New York. But what some people hear is, rather than you saying, I think London is the best city in the world, they're thinking you're saying, New York's trash, fuck New York, blah, blah, blah. And they just get offended, like, what? You say, no, I didn't say New York was bad. I just think London's better. But they just think if you don't agree with what their opinion, then you must be the total opposite of my opinion. And I hate you. And it's a crazy time. It's a crazy time that we're living in.
It's a crazy time, and you can't be a human being, and you can't have ever made a mistake, and you cannot. And if you made that mistake, you cannot have learned from that mistake and never do it again. You're just always going to be that individual. Again, going back to Matt Damon, he are you telling me a guy from Massachusetts once said faggot? No way. Oh. But then someone told him, hey, that's not cool. And he went, yeah, you know what? You're right. That's not cool. It doesn't matter because he's already said it once. And so he said it a million times.
I could be wrong, but I think the problem with the Matt Damon situation, for me at least, I mean, I'm not saying I have an issue with Matt Damon, but I'm saying my opinion, this is why I think there was a problem, was that he said that he used the word, and then his daughter told him that it was a bad word.
Sure.
And so he was like, oh, okay, I'm never going to use that again. But then,
don't see what the problem with that is.
But then someone, when someone said, what? You used the F word? Rather than going, yeah, I did. My bad. I've learned now. I'm not going to use it again. He just started trying to make, no, what did I say? No, I must have been on a movie. I said it. And it's like, you fucked that. If you just, I think sometimes there is a position where you can just be like, Yeah, I did make that mistake. I already admitted I made that mistake. I've grown from it. Whereas I think when someone shows a little bit of weakness, like, what? No, oh shit, I'm actually getting into trouble when I thought I was going to get praised for admitting that I did wrong. That's when some people fuck up,
I think people just react differently when they're backed into a corner. And it's probably easy to get spooked and intimidated in those situations, especially when, money and your next mortgage payment's on the line. I don't know.
But we had an update on the Dave Chappelle. So apparently, either last night or the night before, he did a live show where he reacted to the reaction to his special.
Okay.
And basically, he said that he'd be willing to meet with people of the trans community to discuss what's going on right now. But he did say on a proviso that for anyone to meet with him, they have to watch the special. They actually have to watch it from start to finish.
That's fair.
Before he has a discussion with them, which, I think is fair.
That's not an unreasonable request.
No, but yeah. Hey, look, like I said, sometimes it's very difficult, for me as someone who's generally not had a hard time at life. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. Would you say you've had a privileged life?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
I mean,
nothing wrong with that.
Well, I don't want to say ever necessarily a privileged life, but I've definitely not had much struggle. So I guess
privilege is very abstract.
Yeah, so I guess that would be a case of being a privilege of that. So it's very difficult for me to comment, and I always hate the whenever. Oh, no, I get what you're saying. No, I don't. I wish I did, but I don't know what you're, because I've never been in your position, and I probably never will be. So it's hard to be, but I can at least emphasize with people. But yeah, I just think this anger of over. But then again, at the end of the day, I'm not going to tell anyone how they should react to something when it's about a situation that I have no idea about. But I just think, when this whole controversy come about, make your own decision, watch the special, see the whole two sides of it, and let's just grow. Let's just grow as human beings. Let's just all love each other, man.
That would be great. I think if you're upset about this, well, I mean, you need to be like 1 degree of separation away from this to be super upset about this. Otherwise, I think you've got a fantastic life and you're out of problems. There are real problems in this, and Dave Chappelle's mediocre comedy special from 2 weeks ago should not be one of them. Okay, there's real problems in this world that is affecting the transgender community. That is affecting all communities, and we need to focus on that. This is a distraction, guys. There shouldn't be any problem. We should move on with our lives.
Amen.
And it was nice being a part of the Waffle Box. I hope you find a fantastic host after I've been canceled next week. And I appreciate you having me on these past 22 episodes.
We had a good run. We had a good run. Oh, yeah.
I at least got a mug out of it.
That you paid for.
Yes. Yeah. Well, hey, I'm used to that. If I didn't want it, I wouldn't have bought it. It's a good mug, too.
I tried.
Yeah.
Dune.
Dune.
Right. First new controversial conversation. So I, being an English person, pronounce this Dune.
Okay. I, as an American, pronounce it Dune.
But that's D-O-O-N.
Is it? Well, that's just maybe Dune. The marbles in my mouth. Dune.
It's like one letter out of Doom.
Dune.
The video game. But anyway.
Have you ever played that video game, Dune?
Dune?
BFG is amazing.
Dune? The music is great in that video. But yes, this isn't Doom. This is Dune.
Dune.
Dune. We're gonna get Dune and talk about Dune. Dune. What's his name? David Villeneuve.
Jesus, what is his name?
Is it Dave Villeneuve?
Villanova is for sure.
I thought it was Villeneuve.
Oh,
I could be wrong.
come on, dude.
Anyways, the guy doesn't like Marvel movies. But Dune,
except that he hired everybody from Marvel movies to be in it.
Yeah, that awkward moment where he talks shit about Marvel movies and then Dave Bautista turns up for set. Hey,
and Zendaya and oh my god!
Wait, what was Zendaya? What was Marvel?
Zendaya, she was the girl at the end. She's in Spider-Man.
No. Oh, she's in Spider-Man, of course. Yeah, Jesus Christ!
It's always been.
Wow.
We've got a third person chiming in now.
So mad at my phone right now. Especially it's not giving me my information on Dune.
But yes, Dune on available in movie theaters and HBO Max, in which where I watched it.
I also watched it on HBO Max.
Good. Starring, it's actually quite a hell of a cast, really.
Hell of a cast.
I had to write them all down. There's Timothée Chalamet, who I don't know, he's got just one of those faces I hate, but I thought he's actually pretty good in this movie.
He's very skinny, very weighty. He looks like he's about 85 pounds soaking wet. But
that's
you've also
why I like
got
him, because we get along. We
okay.
look alike.
All right, yeah. Hey, look at you. If you take out the beard, it's like looking in the mirror.
Timothée Chalamet, Rebecca Ferguson, Oscar Isaac, Josh Brolin, Stellan Skarsgård, Dave Bautista, Stephen McKinley Henderson, Zendaya, David Dastmalchian, which for the whole goddamn movie, I was like, I recognize this guy, and then I realized he's the polka dot guy in Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay.
Jason Momoa, Javier Bardem. I love Javier Bardem. He was awesome in that Pirates of the Caribbean movie he was in.
He's generally never bad in anything.
And what is it? No, saying no.
Josh Brolin,
Thanos. Just to give you the numbers behind this. So, as of it's a budget of 165 million, and as of October 24th, it has made $223 million worldwide, which I think isn't bad considering it's available on HBO Max. So, I'm assuming that's not encompassing in the money that HBO's given them.
Well, that's worldwide. So
yeah,
only America, the United States, has HBO Max. This movie was released a month ago internationally.
And yes, the majority of the money is international money.
The vast majority is international. I know that it's opening Thursday night, brought in 5 million, which actually isn't bad for a Thursday for any movie. Okay, and then I forget what they were projecting, but it brought in about 30 to 40 million. And they're like, yeah, hey, we're happy with that, especially because of this HBO Max thing we did. Generally, every movie that has premiered on HBO Max this year, and I think it's got 4 more to go without the end of the day, none of them have made anything. And again, the longer into the year we've gotten, regulations have gotten looser and more theaters are opening up again. So, you know, by the time we got to Dune, of course, we got a $30 million opening. So where I'm going at is WB is very happy with this. What's weird about the whole thing is, again, this is in that long line of movies that was ready to be released in 2020. It was withheld because of the pandemic, obviously.
Oh, it's not one of many.
But even without the pandemic being a part of this, this is only half a movie. This is half a story. That opening title card, it's Dune, parentheses, part 1.
I
don't know if you blinked and missed that.
No, I saw that.
What happened there.
I saw that.
Again,
and I was like, you motherfuckers.
Before the pandemic, into the pandemic, and now after the pandemic, there is no release date. There's no production date even for part 2.
Yes, there is.
There is. Oh, breaking news.
Yes, when I was doing my research on it, the release date of Dune Part 2, October 2023.
I'm
And it
not
started,
going to hold my breath on that.
and I guess pre-production, writing and shit like that has started now, and blah, 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 blah.
That's dumb.
Anyway.
That's so dumb.
But still, yes, the whole Part 1, Part 2 bullshit.
And that's been a thing Warner Brothers has been doing since they bought New Line Cinema and Lord of the Rings trilogy. Twilight, they split books. Harry Potter, they split books.
Ugh.
The Hobbit, they split into multiple books.
Ugh.
And then now Dune, they're trying. Dune actually has like 6 or 7 novels, maybe even 14. I've never read any of the Dune books, but Dune has a series of books that, for whatever it was, like, really, you have to split these fuckers up. What are you thinking, guy? God damn it! So let's take a little history trip here. This is not the first time they've adapted Dune.
It was 1984.
There was a David Lynch movie called Dune, based on the books, starring Kyle McLachlan. Kyle MacLachlan.
What year?
1984.
Oh, I got it now.
Yeah. Sting's in it. A couple people. It's weird. And
of course, it's weird.
Although it's been about 20 years since I've tried to watch it, it's a great cure for insomnia, folks. It is boring. It is just ugh. Yeah, it is not fun to watch at all.
What about this one?
You know what? I actually like this one, but before we get to this one,
okay.
They tried to do a remake. The Sci-Fi Channel, before they went SYFY, when it was literally just sci-fi spelled properly, they tried to do a Dune miniseries, and it was, I believe it's about 6 hours long. It was 3 days worth of content. They tried to make it more expansive. It was not any good either.
Sci-fi is not very good. Their original
Sci-fi is
stuff.
usually not very good, but this was that period where, like, you know, we're making a Steven Spielberg miniseries, so we're dumping money into this. So we're going to make a Dune miniseries, and we're hoping to do more. So we're going to dump money into this, and no one watched any of it, or it got critically panned. Having said that, for even being half a story, for being half a movie, I like the new Dune. The nicest thing I can say about it is I want to see more. I would have liked to have seen the second half of this movie.
Yeah, that was. I'll go into a little bit more about my thoughts in a minute, but so this is very much trying to put it into a small ball, but basically at the end of the movie, the gist of it was I was like, "What the fuck? This is bullshit."
It's so anticlimactic. There's supposed to be a climax. There's supposed to be
I hated it. I hated it. But then I was like, "Where's the next one?" I know what I'm watching.
It's kind of lame.
But it was. But okay, so it was really weird, this movie, because I generally enjoyed it, but there was so many times during this movie where I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
Okay, that's fair.
Why is this happening? What is that fucking robot wasp? And why am I supposed to know that that's a thing? That's a bad. Oh, then because everyone's like, "Oh, that means stretch." What? Who? I'm so. Why is the guy who was like the scientist in Thor? Why is he a fat guy? And why is he a good guy? But now he's a bad guy now. What? I felt maybe I'm just an idiot.
Yeah.
But maybe because I've never read the books.
Mm-hmm.
Am
if you
I
were
wrong
to
in
read the
thinking-
book, the book comes with a glossary and an appendix.
But what I'm saying is I definitely think when movies are adapted from other mediums, such as a book or a comic book or a video game or anything like that, there should definitely be stuff in there so that if you have already read the book, read the comic book, played the video game, whatever it might be, that you're like, hey, I get that. But sometimes I think and this is what woes me, but I feel this movie relied too much, a little bit, on you've read the book, you get it. No, I don't. What? I don't get it. I haven't seen it. What?
I don't think that's you, Mike. I'm going to go out on a limb here. I think Dune and also The Lord of the Rings, which is actually something I had to do this weekend. I forgot to mention at the top of the hour. There's a certain vein of sci-fi that has its head so far up its ass that it disguises itself as this is the thinking man sci-fi, Mike. And here's where I'm going with that is after you see the title card that says Dune, parentheses part 1, another title card comes up a little bit later that says the year 11,000 such and so 11,128. I'm just throwing out a number there. And you're like, wow, that's kind of cool. Like I got on the phone with my man Kai and I was like, yo, man, what century would that be? Is that like the 104th century? He's like, that's 103rd century. Kush. I'm like, oh, okay. I knew you and I were going to be talking about this. Did a little IMDb research, looked up some Wikipedia facts, and I just said the year 11,000 something or other. It's been 11,000 plus years since man, in the story of Dune, discovered intergalactic travel, and that was thanks to the spice. But you know when that happened?
No.
In the year 10,000 so-and-so on our calendar. So
this is year 21,000.
It's now 2021 as you and I are speaking. But 8,000 years from now, Mike, in this book's timeline, they discover faster than light travel. And then they reset the calendar. Years. And then they reset the calendar. And then they started at 0 and they went, and then this story starts 11,000 years after that. And it's just like, fuck you guys. You could have just made this the year 3000. You could have made this
it's not like
24,
anyone like
28, whatever, man. Like,
they think this is going to happen in 1,000 years. So unbelievable. I can't buy that.
And it was after discovering all those things that when, like, spoiler alert, everybody, there's a turncoat. He's an Asian man. And because I watch everything with closed caption, it says speaking in Mandarin. I was like, oh, that's very generous to think that we're going to be speaking Mandarin 24,000 years from now. Okay. And it's very, very generous to think that Timothy Chalamet is going to be a pure white male in 24,000 years. It's rumored to speculate, Mike, that in 1,000 years, we're all going to look Filipino. And I'm okay with that. But
I'm getting ahead of the game. Getting ahead of the game.
Go for it, buddy. You know what you're doing. This movie, this story has its head up its ass. I just mentioned The Lord of the Rings. One ring to rule them all. There are 21 other rings in this thing that apparently don't do anything but be controlled by this one stupid ring. It's like, couldn't you just make the one ring just mind wash people? Like, you had to bring 20 other rings into this that don't do anything in this 9-hour odyssey that I'm now watching. God damn it. Like, sometimes people just get a little up their ass. And I think that's part of Dune's problem here.
It was very trying to be something. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my ultimate annoyance was, I think, that the fact that I knew all this in terms of this is being pretentious and blah, 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 blah. But I was annoyed at the fact that I know when the second part does come out, I'm going to be watching it. I'm like, I hate myself.
I'll check it out.
There wasn't enough Batista, by the way. I mean, I guess it's the character he's playing, but I was like, all right, why does he Dave Batista?
There's very little Dave Batista. There's very little Zendaya, and she's supposed to be like the main focus. She's on all the goddamn posters. She's in this for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, it's like a couple of like dreams or whatever bullshit.
Mm-hmm. I'm hearing a lot of people saying, and even, I mean, before the pandemic, obviously this was made to be seen in theaters. But, folks, sand, it looks the same on TV as it does on a movie screen. Okay, it's just sand. There's nothing really special about it except for that Denis Villeneuve. That's his name that I just got to look up. It's 85% of this movie is sand or wide open dark spaces, and I can get the same experience on my beautiful 43-inch 4K TV. All right, my man over in the Richmond district, he's got a 70-inch screen TV. He has no need to see anything in a theater. So it's Dune doesn't need to be seen in the theater. If you do, go ahead. You're gonna have a great time, I think. But I mean, it looks the same on your phone too. It's sand. 85% of this movie is sand. I mean, it's in the title. No one should be surprised by this. But let's not pretend that we're seeing a fucking modern masterpiece of art here.
I mean, it does look good. I will say that.
It doesn't look bad. It looks like someone took the sci-fi issue of GQ and then made a movie out of it.
Can't agree with that. I'm gonna write that down. GQ.
Gentleman's Quarterly.
Man of the year. Yeah. So what else do you want to say? Because I mean, I guess we could.
I like Dune. I think everyone should definitely give it a look. See, I did not feel the 2.5 hour length, but I was disappointed that there wasn't more. There should have been more. They should have just made the whole movie. Yeah, make it a 5 hour movie. Then who cares, really?
At this point,
who cares? But yeah, it's fine. It's not the best movie of the year. It's not the greatest sci-fi movie ever made. It's much better than the previous two editions. But if you don't watch it, you're not missing it.
Are we doing spoilers or not spoilers?
I think we kind of did or didn't.
Right.
I mean, we can. Yeah.
One major thing that annoyed. So when there was the turncoat, the Asian man, as it said, who miraculously speaks Mandarin 21,000 years into the future. They did this whole thing of like, so Timothy Chalamet's dad, I can't remember. I'm terrible.
Oscar Isaac.
I'm terrible with character names, but yes, Oscar Isaac. He is murdered by the turncoat in a weird way. But then he's kind of like, hey, I have to do this to protect my family, but I'm still sort of on your side, so I kind of want to fuck up the people that are doing this to me, blah, 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 blah. So he does this thing where I'm going to replace your tooth with this poison tooth. So when you get close to the main bad guy, I want you to bite down your tooth, breathe in his face. You'll die, but you're going to die anyway, trust. But he'll die as well. And then they do this epic scene where, I won't say it's epic, but it's a good scene.
It's a good scene.
It's a good scene where he bites down his tooth, breathes out, and all these people start freaking out and dying because of the poisonous gas and blah, 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 blah.
And it takes out the whole room. And
takes out the whole room.
I was like, it's just take out, folks in a six foot radius. No, it took out the whole room. They were like, close the door and let me get out of here.
Should have been wearing their masks. But they're indoors. Wear your mask.
Very generous to think that 21,000 years from now, we're not going to be wearing masks.
But then, pretty much the next scene that he's the main baddie in, he's just in this weird gloop bath, just chilling out. So that was kind of anticlimactic.
He got away just in time and was just that strong. That's how that's supposed to be. But yeah, it was.
Maybe they were explaining it in Dune too, but I don't know. But it's like, it was kind of the let off. It's just one of those very strange movies where it's a really good movie, but when you think about it, it's not.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's going to be weird also to see Zendaya and Timothy Chalamet 4 years older when the next movie does finally come out. 5 years older, but they're not going to make that movie overnight. All right, it ain't going to take Avatar 2 length of time, but that was a complicated movie to make. Just shooting in the desert.
Are they still actually making Avatar 2?
Yes. That Avatar 2 was supposed to come out in 2012, and James Cameron kept going like, "But I'm developing new technology. I'm going to make it much better," and so that kept getting pushed back. And it should be in that column of movies that was supposed to come out in 2020, no. Avatar 4 was supposed to come out in 2020.
Here's a real hard hitting question that maybe some people aren't ready to hear, but you know what? I'm the true slayer. I say this. Is anyone really excited to see Avatar 2?
Not anymore.
Because
maybe they were once upon a time.
Avatar, the whole hype around Avatar 1 was it was one of the first major CGI 3D shit.
Mm-hmm.
But now that's become that whole fad has like went up, and now no one actually gives a shit about 3D. You know, it's kind of stupid. Do I care about Avatar 2?
You don't.
No, I don't.
I don't. But it's
once I saw Jackass 3D, it's like, right, this is it. I don't need to see any more 3D movies. This is the best use of 3D. Jackass 3D. You can't get any better than that.
I don't agree with that. But I also didn't see Jackass in 3D.
Jackass 3D is great.
I'm trying to think of what was the best 3D movie. Alpha. One half of the Hughes brothers. That's the brothers that directed Menace to Society. One of them made a 3D IMAX movie about it's the original boy and his dog story about this prehistoric Icelandic tribe that goes out hunting for buffalo, and one day the chief's son gets knocked over a cliff. He befriends a wolf, and they journey on their way home. That has the best use of 3D I've ever seen. Alpha.
But does it have a dildo and a bazooka being shot right at the camera?
No, it does not.
Arrest my case.
The guy who plays Nightcrawler in the newest editions of the X-Men, he's in a loincloth most of the time. Maybe that's up your alley. But otherwise, it's fantastic movie, fantastic visuals, all in this gibberish prehistoric Icelandic language that no one knows how to speak. But man, fucking on the edge of my seat the entire time.
Go see it. I'm assuming it's not available anymore.
It's not in 3D, unfortunately, but you can find it on iTunes. Still a good movie. But that's definitely all subtitles, no English.
Beautiful. Anything else caught your mind, caught your eye in the past 7 days? Kush?
Nothing. Just glad that the storm in San Francisco is behind us. On my way down here to LA, I saw surprisingly several houses in my neighborhood crushed by trees. I don't know why I didn't think about that at the top of the hour, but I was in a rush to go to the prep today. So, yeah, glad we survived
New
the storm.
Jersey every day.
Oh, okay. Well, that's new for San Francisco. It doesn't happen every day. We get a storm.
It's not every day.
Every day? Oh,
no.
You guys got crazy shit.
It's not every day. I'm lying. I'm just doing it for attention now.
No.
Oh dear.
No.
Quick look on. Yeah, there's not much been going on really, other than Well, I guess quick word. Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, that's sad.
That is sad.
Sad story.
Sad in all directions, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to keep
honestly, someone lost their life. Someone is in critical condition now, or maybe they're out of surgery. I guess I don't know. The worst thing I've seen is all of the memes making fun of Alec Baldwin and calling him a murderer, and it's just like, God damn it, guys. I know he rubs people the wrong way, but shit, man, this wasn't his fault, and
no.
People are dead. Let's not try and make a joke out of this.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, the ultimate victim is the person that's unfortunately passed away and the family of that person.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to spare a thought for Alec. Like I wouldn't know how. Like, imagine I wouldn't even know how to react to that. Like, you just turn up for work just to shoot a movie, and you end up I mean, I know technically murder is the description of with intent and stuff, but you killed someone. Like, Jesus Christ! Like, how do you live with that?
Yeah, he's not going to be the same after this. He was a funny dude. He's not going to be funny anymore.
No, I think he's. I mean, this is just how I guess I would react to it. But if I was him, my acting days would be over, or at least I would need to take a long break and only be in certain things. I'm not working with a gun anymore. Fuck that.
Yeah, right.
But how they're talking about maybe resuming production on that movie. How are they going to do that? That's going to be that.
I mean, the Crow's able to get back on his feet.
I mean, as with anything, that was so long ago. This is new days. I don't know. I just don't.
Well, thankfully, because of that accident, we have so many safety procedures now in place. But that's why this is so shocking. 25 years later. Yeah, there's so someone's definitely getting arrested for this, especially criminal negligence. And then Alec Baldwin is still probably going to get sued because he's a producer on this film.
Well, yeah. The film is 100% going to be sued for a lot of money. That's why another thing. Even I'd be shocked if this movie continues because how much money? Because they're going to have to pay a lot of money.
Well, there's insurance for all that shit, but maybe there isn't.
Yeah.
Like every day, new news comes out about this, and it just gets worse and worse. And it was just like the armorer. This was her second job, and she's normally this job is held by someone in his 50s or 60s that's been experienced, but this is like brand spanking new armorer. And then someone brought live ammunition on set, and the slug got caught in the barrel still, and just it's all bad. It's a mess, and it's tragedy, and we're going to be hearing about this a lot longer than we're going to be hearing about Dave Chappelle and transgenders.
There's going to be documentaries about this shit.
Great call. Yes, that's absolutely going to happen.
But yeah, rest in peace. Never nice when that happens. But yeah, let's just be the overarching story about episode 22 of Waffles. Let's just not be dicks to each other.
That's fair.
Just leave Alec Baldwin alone. I'm pretty sure he's going through some shit right now. Just chill, everyone. Just chill.
That'd be nice, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what a interesting episode of Waffle Box this week.
Definitely a more serious Waffle Box. A grittier Waffle Box.
That's what happens when you're in LA. You need to go back to San Francisco.
Yeah,
and it will be weird and wacky next week again. What?
the part of LA that I'm in apparently does not allow smoking even on the streets. Like I knew I wasn't gonna be able to smoke in my hotel room. I was like, it has to be started up. If I get in the Waffle Box, just blazing a joint. No, they were like, we're gonna charge you $500 for that. And I was like, well, where can I smoke? Like, you can try your luck on the streets, but it's illegal in this part of the town. Like, what? They tried this in Berkeley actually, like 30 years ago. It didn't work out.
Come on.
I'm going right out after
2021.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty of dispensaries. I even saw a cigarette shop right across the street. So people are still doing it, but it's apparently illegal. It's verboten.
Just don't tell anyone. There better not be any narcs listening to this episode.
A narc listening to Kush Hayes? Unfounded.
You've been tapped. You've been podcast tapped.
Oh no. They might be listening to us, Mike. This episode that we put out into the public conscious, they're listening to us.
Well, since I am good natured, this is good news though. The world famous coming soon brand new design to wafflemerch.com should be dropping.
That sounds exciting.
Very soon.
All right. I'm staying
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard it's very good.
Okay.
Once it drops, I'm going to promote the shit out of this because the person who designed it is an awesome person, and she's an awesome artist. So I'm going to be excited when it comes through because I'm going to buy a bunch of them, and you should too. Go to wafflemerch.com, bookmark that shit, and wait for our new design to drop. When you will get notified when the new design drops by following us on Twitter and Instagram at WaffleboxPod. Hit those follow buttons, and you'll be up to date on everything that happens. Anything you want to close it, because I am running on what's the time now?
It's 10:30 or 10:15 where you are.
I've been up 16 hours, including a 2-hour drive to Manhattan, 2 hours sitting in a dentist chair, and then a half-hour drive
Your
back.
dentist is in Manhattan?
Yeah.
Oh, no. How'd that happen?
Yeah, you got to go where the best are.
I agree with that, but how is there not a good dentist in New Jersey?
I'm sure there is, but typically it wouldn't be that bad. But we had not only it was during rush hour, but then also we had like torrential downpour, which means people were driving like idiots or driving. So, so for example, this is how bad the traffic was. From my literally, this is how bad I got. Super unlucky. So 5 minutes before I left my apartment, I checked Google, and it estimated my journey would take 1 hour. 1 hour later, I was still in New Jersey. I hadn't crossed over the bridge to Manhattan yet.
Was there an accident?
No, it was just I just caught it at bad time. I guess because not to get too into it, but to get from New Jersey to New York, there's many ways to do that. But one of them is George Washington Bridge. And there's a lower level and an upper level. Upper level is where all the lorries and trucks have to go. And I just guess I caught it at a bad time where there was lots of trucks and lorries. So they was all trying to go one way. And I was trying to separate to go the other way, but I was just in a backlog of it was just a shit show. Once I actually got past all those and I was actually on the bridge, it was a piece of piss. But and the return journey from Manhattan to New Jersey took me like 26 minutes. So that's to put you in perspective of how bad the traffic was. So that was my morning. So I'm pretty tired and I've drank a bit today. So
I believe it. I've been up since 7 and then I drove 7 hours through a state and never left that state. Mike, you could go from 5 states in the time that I took.
You stupid big California.
Stupid big California.
I could go to another country in that time. I could drive to Canada in that time and still have time to spare.
I mean, in the UK, in Europe itself, you could do that as well. Like,
across majority of Europe in 7 hours in a car.
I was
making it up.
The first year I went to the Redhead Days Festival in Holland. Met a lovely young woman. She was from Paris.
Ooh,
and I was like, how long does it take to get to Paris, from Holland and vice versa? Interaction like, about 4 hours. And I was like, fuck. In 4 hours, I might get to South Lake Tahoe, maybe on California, maybe on Nevada. I might get to Fresno, which is about 100 miles north of where I am right now. I might get to Humboldt County, which is where all the weed is. Or I can't go any farther west because there's a beach. But that's like always in California is where I'm saying that. But meanwhile, was
the most mind-blowing
France, Germany and
Holland. One of the most mind-blowing trip I ever did was when I was leaving London to Amsterdam.
Okay.
And I was on the plane took off. They came around with the car. Hey, does anyone want to buy a drink? Because it was like, you don't get complimentary that sort of flight. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll buy a beer. I bought a beer, cracked it open. And by the time I'd sipped my first sip, they were like, okay, prepare for landing. I was oh, shit.
Shut up.
The whole, like from takeoff in London to touchdown in Amsterdam was about 40 minutes.
How big was the plane?
It wasn't that big of a plane.
Oh, some lazy ass staff, or they shouldn't have been serving anything. That's stupid.
So, but whatever, I downed it. I got my drink. I was happy.
I bet you did.
Oh, okay. Let's end it there then.
All right. Well, just before we go, folks, it's Wednesday, but check out episode number 5 of the Kick-Ass Movie Podcast. Me and director, master, Len Kapuzinski, we're going to be talking about Kung Fu Jungle, a.k.a. Kung Fu Killer, starring Donnie Yen. It's from 2015. It's the spookiest Kung Fu movie I could find for October, and I hope you like it. By the way, I'll be meeting Len Kapuzinski for the first time this week. We recorded that episode like 6 weeks ago. To this day, me and this man have still not met. So, the red letter date going all around. Check out Kick-Ass Movie Podcast number 5, Kung Fu Killer, Donnie.
And of course, don't forget to check out. Just go to bosnet.family to make sure you never miss one of these podcasts. As always, make sure you follow us. I am Mr. Mike Fish. He is at Kush_Hayes at Wafflebox Pod on all your platforms. If you do want to find any of the links you need to go to enjoy wafflebox.com, and of course check out wafflemerch.com for the new design dropping very, very soon. But until next week, when we'll be back, Syrup Squad, for another Waffle Wednesday. Love alliteration. Take care of yourselves and each other.